Hi, this is Tracy with Popup Paint Studio, and we're going to be painting today our mermaid tail. And I just love this design because it's very sparkly with the gold. I don't know if you can see that, but we're using gold paint with this design, so when it gets into the sun, it's really sparkly, so it's a fun one. And of course, this design is available as one of our painting kits that we have on Pop-Up Paint Studio. So if you would like to look at the different paint kits we have, that's where you would go to do that. If you have this particular one, you receive with your paint kit a 12 by 12 stretched canvas. I usually do my tutorials with a flat canvas, but you have a stretched canvas, which is really cool. You get your paint colors. I always advise you to open up your paints, put them on the paper plate that's included with your kit, and put the lids next to them that have the names on them, so it's easy to identify. When we get ready to use a color, you'll know exactly where it goes. We've got a lot of colors with this one. It's filling up our paper plate today. Okay, you also get a sponge, and what I'd like for you to do is wet your sponge. You do need to supply your own cup of water. I have a mason jar here, but you can just use a paper cup. Get your sponge wet, squeeze it out really good, whether you do it in the sink or your clean water here, that's fine, and just set it to the side. We use that sometimes. If we make a little mistake, we use it to wipe it off. So with your paint kit also, you get a copy of your design. Today I'm using actual painting right here on my little easel. You also get 5 brushes. I'm going to refer to them today as the large flat brush, the large round brush, the small flat brush, the small round brush, and then that little one is your detail brush. So we're just going to jump right into it. If you do not have one of our paint kits, but you have your own art supplies, I just want you to join in. So get some paper. We're going to be starting with our light blue as the background. So look at your light blue mix. We're going to be painting around the mermaid. And as I was saying, if you don't have an art kit, but you have paper, or you have maybe a different size canvas, or you have cardboard or a sketchbook, whatever you have, grab that, the colors you have, draw out a design, whether it is our mermaid design. You definitely can look at that and kind of get an idea how you might draw that out, maybe with a pencil, and use your colors and paint it whatever colors you want to. If you don't want to do a mermaid, just paint something with us. I'm happy that you joined us. I try to do at least 1 or 2 videos a week. Some of them are our paint kits that we offer so that folks can have a free video tutorial if they buy a paint kit. But some of them are just paintings that I want to do. And I will tell you in the description of the videos what supplies you'll need if you want to do that with me. So yeah, that's really fun. But I do love to do my kids tutorials and my Kids at Heart tutorials, because a mermaid is always fun. Everybody likes to paint a mermaid. So we're just painting around the edges, and what I'm doing is I'm covering up that black line as much as I can. Once we finish painting the mermaid body and we go over these lines, you won't even be able to see these lines. When you're learning how to paint, or you haven't painted that much, you need to have a design when you're starting. Otherwise, it can get very frustrating. And I always tell my students that most artists draw out their designs first. Ask one. Even when you're doing portraits of people, really fancy paintings, most artists will sketch them out first. So you're not doing anything by having a sketched out design on your canvas. You're not doing anything different than any other artist. And as you get better in your painting skills, because you will, as you paint more often, you get better, then you'll start drawing your own designs. But everybody learns, especially with painting, by copying. There's nothing wrong with that. That's how you learn. And the more you do it, the better you get. Just like with anything. Art is not some unattainable goal. Anybody can be an artist. Actually, I believe you're born an artist. Somewhere along the way, somebody might tell you you're not, and you believe them, but it's not true. But anyway, if you want to be a quote-unquote artist, you can be an artist. And you can be a good artist. You can be a real good artist. And it doesn't even matter, because who's to determine what's good and what's not? That depends on who's looking at it. That's what's so cool about art. But the more you do it, the better you get, just like anything else. And if you like doing it, then it's easy to do it a lot. It's very rewarding. Creating is very rewarding, no matter what it is, whether you're sewing a dress or building a house, or it's all art. All right, I need to start painting more and quit talking so much. Okay, so as you can see, we went around the starfish, we're going around the mermaid, but when we go get up here to where these fish are, we're going to go right over the top of them, okay? You're still going to be able to see the outline of the fish so that we can paint it later, especially when it dries, it comes through. So don't put 3 coats over the top of them, or then they will be gone and you're going to have to draw them again. But if you just do 1 coat over the top of them, which is plenty, when it dries, you'll be able to see the outline. And you can actually take a pencil and go over the outline again, right over the paint. If you can just see them a little bit and you want to see them a little bit more. Also, since you have a stretched canvas, which means that your canvas has sides to it, you can paint those sides. So say you're painting this area right here, you're going to have a side right here. Let me see if I can lift that up. You're going to have a side right here that's going to be much wider than mine, because yours is a stretched canvas and mine is a flat canvas. But paint that blue, but only paint it from here to here, because this is going to be your mermaid. When you get ready to do your mermaid, we'll paint the side the mermaid colors, okay? And you can paint the whole top on the side up there blue, and all the way down here. I think right here where the starfish is, you might want to, leave that little area open to paint it the starfish color, but you understand what I'm saying. Now, if you have the paint kit, there's a little disposable apron in there, and I hope you're wearing it, because I probably should have said this earlier, but it is in the description on your instructions in the paint kit is talking about the apron. And I hope you're wearing that apron, because this paint stains. It will stain your clothes and it will not come out. So do wear your apron and protect your table. Don't be too messy. That's why we put those paints on that paper plate. That keeps that mess contained a little bit. All right, so there we go. We are done with the background. Beautiful. Now what we're going to do is we're going to rinse that brush. And we're going to take our paper towel. Now you have one paper towel that came with your paint kit, but you're probably going to need a few more. And you just kind of squeeze that brush off a little bit. And we are going to be using our dark teal color. Now you've got a lot of different greens in here. You've got what we call a phthalo green here. You've got a dark teal here and a light teal here. This one is green oxide. So what we're going for is that dark teal color. Okay? And we're going to paint our mermaid body. And we're going to use that same large brush that we just rinsed and wiped. So we're just going right in. I love that teal color. It's one of my favorite colors. Paint right up to this area, this black line between the body and the fins. And we're going to go over the black line with that color. And you want to make sure you don't leave any puddles of paint. So make sure you're spreading that paint out nice. Because it'll take too long to dry. This is a pretty fast drying paint. But if you leave a puddle, it'll take too long to dry. But you have time. I mean, you can just let it dry and come back to it later. We're going to do all our background colors, and then we're going to come back and do the details on top of the background colors. So we did the background with the water. Now we're doing the background of the body. All right. Okay, and do the edges. If you want to do the edges, go ahead and do the edges right there of your mermaid body. I don't know if you can see. My edge is very tiny, but you can do the edge right there. Leave that the water and then that the mermaid. Okay, so now we're going to rinse that brush again. And the same thing. Be careful about holding your brush over the top of your painting, though, because it'll drip water on it. You don't want that. All right, so the next area that we're going to be doing a background color on is going to be the light teal. So it's not your dark green, not your green oxide, the light teal mix. If it's next to your lid, you know which one that is. And we're going to be using the same brush, same large square brush. If you want to use a different brush, you are welcome to use it. I'm going to use, excuse me, I'm going to use my large square brush. Over here on this side. Like I said, if you want to use a different brush to get in those tiny areas there at the end of the fin, you're welcome to. Just any dirty brushes that you have and you're not using, make sure that they're in that bowl of water or your cup of water. Just leave them in there until you're ready to rinse them and wipe them. Okay, so when we get close to the body right here, I like to just kind of blend that light color into that dark color in kind of a painterly way, which means you're not doing any specific stroke. You're just kind of letting it fall as it may. So you kind of let it look like that. We're going to do the same thing on this side. You don't have to add any more paint to your brush. There's plenty of paint in your brush. You just push a little bit harder and it'll just come right up in there and be kind of feathery like that. All right. And now we're going to throw that brush in the water. I'm just going to leave that brush in the water for now. And we're going to be using our light orange color. So we've got two oranges. This is your regular orange and this is your light orange. So we're going to be using the light orange. And you're going to be using your large rounded brush. So it's got kind of a rounded top right there. Or whatever brush you have is fine. And we're going to be painting the starfish. So you've got that little roundness of the brush to kind of help you with the round areas here without even having to try real hard. That's a big part of painting, is just having the right tools, which is true with anything. Makes it a lot easier if you have the right tools. Look at that, you just lay that brush there and it almost makes those little starfish arms by itself. And the last one here. There we go, and we're going to put that brush in the water, and the next thing we're going to do is we are going to put, you know what we're going to do? We're going to use the same color, and we're going to use our detail brush, or you can use your small flat brush, because what we're going to do is we're going to paint our little fish right here. And if you need to redraw your fish, because you can't see them really good, but you can see them if you get real close, go ahead and do that. And then I can still see mine, so I'm not going to worry about that. And we're going to get started painting those little fish. I think I'm going to start with this detail brush. And then I may switch to that small square brush. But for sure, to get his tail, I'm going to use the detail brush so I can get in those little areas. And you know, this is one of those designs where you can kind of add your own details in this design. You know, it's an underwater ocean theme. I mean, there's all kinds of things under the ocean. I mean, even like coral, flowers, rocks. You can put more grass, you can put other kind of sea creatures, more fish. Now see, I used my detail brush for that whole fish. That worked pretty good. I kind of like that. And you know, you can always take your design and flip it upside down. So that, because I know some of this might still be wet and you might be going, how am I supposed to paint this with my arm not getting messed up? Turn it upside down. We also have polka dot sponges that comes with this design. 3 polka dot sponges. And they're going to help us make some of the fun details that go on the mermaid. there. All right. Might want to add a little bit more to him. Okay, I'm going to turn it back. And what I want you to do without even rinsing your brush, put a little bit of white on your brush, just stick it in your white a little bit. And I just want you to add a little bit of white down kind of the center of the fish. We're just adding a little bit of detail, a little bit of highlight and shadow. Doesn't have to be in any particular place, but don't put it on the whole thing. Just right, kind of blend it in like this. It's just where the light might be hitting that fish from above in some way. Perfect. All right, I love it. All right, so go ahead and throw that brush in the water, and the first thing I want you to do is grab one of your polka dot sponges. Now my sponges, I've used these over and over, so of course you have brand new sponges, but you will have 3 of them. And the first one, even though it looks dirty, I promise you it's not, it's just stained. So the first color that I'm going to use to make polka dots with is going to be my light teal. So I'm going to grab my light teal, stick my polka dot sponge in it, and it gets kind of gobby, and you really don't want it to be that gobby. So I always hold a paper towel in my hand so I can get some of it off. And you're very simply going to add polka dots to your mermaid. Doesn't have to be any rhyme or reason to it. You don't have to have any certain pattern, because we're going to add all different colors of polka dots, and it's all going to blend together and be beautiful. Now, if you want to have it to be perfect in rows and, make it, any way you want. It's your mermaid, it's your painting. So you do whatever you want, what you think looks good. My daughter sometimes says I'm a messy painter because I like to just go in here and just have a lot of fun with it and not worry too much if it looks like what, a cookie cutter mermaid might look like, because maybe I don't want that. Maybe I want it to look like what my mermaid would look like. So you do your mermaid the way you want, or whatever you're painting. Okay, so we're just going down to this little area here, and you can do as much as you want. I mean, I like to leave a little bit of the background color to look through it, because that's the whole point of doing different colors, is you want all of them to show up. So don't get too thick, blot it off really good. I kind of like that. Let me see, I may need a couple more here. Let me look. I don't want the edges to be bare. Here we go. And you have a lot more paint in your little sponge than you think, so that you don't have to go back to your paint as much as what you think. All right, so cute. Okay, so now what you're going to do is you're going to blot off your polka dot sponge as much as you can. Doesn't have to be every bit of that color out, because it's going to be mixing anyway. So the next color that you're going to grab is your gold. And this is the fun one. I love this because it's so shimmery when it dries. So we're going to put the same polka dot sponge in your gold. And you see how thick it is? So I'm going to blot it off. And I'm going to go right over the same area, right over what you did before. We're adding gold on top of those 2 different colors of teal. You can add as little as you want or as much as you want. I kind of went overboard on this one. I think I'm going to be a little bit less with the gold on this one, because we're also going to be putting a white highlight on top of this with a polka dot sponge too. So there's lots of colors. So you do what you want. I'm going to do a little bit less than what I did on the other one. Some of these are pretty thick, so I'm going to go borrow a little bit from some of these up here. Get a little bit more. All right, I kind of like that. Okay, so just take this dirty sponge and just throw it in your water and leave it there. And the next thing we're going to be grabbing is another polka dot sponge. So grab your next clean polka dot sponge. And this paper towel is done. So I'm going to throw it over here. I'm going to throw it away and I'm going to grab a new one because it is way done. Okay, so the next color I'm going to be using with my polka dot sponge is going to be my orange. My full-blown orange, okay? So I'm going to stick it in there. Too blobby. Blot it off. Blot it off a lot. And then we're going to go into our starfish and we are going to lightly put some little deep, not big polka dots. We sponged most of it off, so we're just putting a little bit of texture on our starfish, okay? I mean, if it looks like a polka dot, it's okay. It's not the end of the world. But what we want to do is just put something that looks like texture. Just stipple it on there, up and down. Maybe a little bit more. Don't want to go too much. I can go too much now. All right. All right, there we go. And then with this one, you can go ahead and throw this one also in the water. We're not going to need that one anymore. And the next brush that we're going to be using is going to be our small round brush. And I think it's in the water. Let me see. No, it's not. Here it is. Small round brush. And we're going to be using our dark phthalo green. Now this is the darkest green that you have on your palette, okay? And we're going to be using very little of it. Just a little teeny tiny bit. A little teeny tiny bit. And we're going to dry brush some little swoopy stripes on our fins. So I put very little on here. I'm going to start up here and I'm just going to swipe. I'm going to swipe again. And I'm going to swipe over here and maybe one more time. Very little. You can always add more if you want to. I'm going to do a swipe, swipe, and a swipe. Now I think I'm going to make this one a little bit darker just so you can see it. There we go. All right, now you're going to rinse that brush. You're going to dry it off. And put these colors back over here. And we're going to grab the gold again. Gold, gold. Same brush, we've rinsed it off, you wiped it off, going to use some gold, and we're going to add some of this gold to the fins. So just a little bit. We're going to swoop that. All right, I like it. All right, so throw that brush in the water. And the next thing we're going to be doing is we're going to be grabbing one of our smaller brushes. So let's see. Actually, honestly, it could probably be any brush, but I'm going to grab my small flat brush because we haven't used it yet. And we're going to be using the back end of the brush. So the little pointy back end of the brush. And we're going to be grabbing our white. And then what we're going to do is put all these cute little accent dots on everything. Okay? So you just stick the back end of the brush in there and you just go to town. It's going to take you a little while, but look at your design. Don't just start putting them on there randomly. I kind of stay towards the center when I'm doing the starfish. I don't want to get them all on the outside of the edges. I don't know why. I just think it makes it look more 3D if you keep that real light color towards the center of the areas of the starfish. Even though it's not a realistic painting, I still think it makes it look more realistic. And I can usually get 2 or 3 dots out of one dip in the paint. Let's see, maybe a little bit right there. All right, and I might come back and add more later. And then we want to stay on the edges of the fins. And we're going to outline these fins a little bit so they'll show up against that water better. So don't get too close to the edge, even though you can, edge it even, bigger than the fins, that's fine, but I'm just letting you know. And then all along here where this hard line is, where the tail meets, put little dots. Kind of hide that line a little bit. A seahorse would be a cute little thing to add. I'd have to look to see how to draw one. And you can put these little dots anywhere you want. You can put them all over the place, because and my daughter also, we love dots. I just think dots make everything so cute. That was a big dot. Very cute and sometimes fancy. And yeah, I just love dots. Kind of delicate. So if you ever have something that's just a basic color and you want to fancy it up, just put little white dots on it. Cute, cute. Okay, and where else is on our fish? So if you've got a whole bunch of gobby paint on the end from all this dotting, wipe it off, because you don't want a great big dot on your fish. So think about just putting maybe a little bit of paint on the end for your fish, and then place it where you want it. Because sometimes they might get bigger. Maybe your detail brush has a smaller back end. I'm not sure. I'd have to check. Yeah, I think I might have used the detail brush last time. All right, and then while we've got our daughter handy, we're going to wipe it. Look, I'm ready to use my fingers. We're going to wipe it off, and we're going to put the back end, same back end, into our phthalo green, which is the dark, dark, dark green, and make eyeballs for our fish. Dot. Dot. Perfect. All right, I'm just going to wipe that off. And the next brush we're going to be grabbing is going to be the small rounded brush. So let's see what we got. There it is, small rounded brush. So rinse, rinse, rinse. Wipe, wipe, wipe. And we're going to take our green oxide. Hopefully your lid is right next to it so you know which one that is. It's one of the greens. And you can add your grasses anywhere you want to. So I'm going to go along with the design. I'm going to put some paint on my brush. I'm going to start at the bottom and I'm just going to move it up. Get some more paint, start at the bottom, move it up without stopping. Go in the bottom again, one more, and we're going to cross it over to make it fancy. And there we go. Now, I'm going to take, without washing my brush, I'm going to go into the dark green, the phthalo green. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to add some of that phthalo green up into it. When it dries, you're going to see two different colors of green, and it just makes it look a little bit more 3D kind of, and very, very nice. I love it. Okay, so now we're going to wipe our brush, same thing we did before, without rinsing, just wipe it off. And we're going to go into, you won't believe it, your gold. We're going to have some gold on our leaves. Get you a little bit of gold and do the same thing. You just run it up through it, and I know it doesn't look like it's getting on there, but it is. And when it dries, you'll just see that little extra sparkle. Doesn't have to cover the whole thing. You're just going to see little edges of it. Cute! And then throw your brush in the water. I'm going to move all my paints back over here. I don't know why they keep getting on this other side. Keep moving them. Okay, and now I want you to grab your detail brush. This is where I'm looking over it and I'm trying to see what I missed. And we are going to outline our fins because they don't stand out really good. These colors are both light. Our background and our fin color is very light. So we just want them to stand out a little bit more. So we're going to grab our phthalo green, which is the darkest green, and our detail brush, which is our smallest brush. And we're just going to make a line around, I'm going to move my design again to make it easier for me to make this line. And we're just going to outline our fins. And you can go outside of the actual fin if you want to. Doesn't have to be a solid line. Even though I'm trying to make this one more solid, it doesn't have to be. There we go. It can be a very painterly line. There, see how you can see this one a lot better than this one over here? Just makes it pop a little bit more. I don't know if you guys can hear Polly crying, but he's crying because I closed the door on him. I didn't close the door on him, you know what I mean. He can't get in. All right, and I'm turned upside down some more. It's funny, usually by this time I've made kind of a boo-boo and I have to use my sponge to clean it up, so I have the chance to kind of show you what you can do with that sponge, but I'm going to show you anyway. This paint is a water-based paint, so while it's wet, you can actually wipe it off. You can't wipe it off if it's not wet, but if it's wet, you can wipe it off. So you see how I just wiped that green line off? And so if you make a mistake, that's what that sponge is for, to wipe it off really quick, and you can go in here and repaint it. But if you let it dry, the sponge will not allow you to wipe it off. It just won't if you let it dry. So if you get it when it's wet, you got it. I did smear a little bit across my area here, so I'm going to fix that up. And the other thing is, if you don't get to it, say you don't get to it to fix it quick enough, you let it dry and you just paint right over the top of it. So no worries. Either way, I love acrylic paint because even if you do something you hate, you can just wait a minute, walk away, come back, paint right over the top of it. Okay, so now, fun part, I love this part. we're going to be using our last polka dot sponge, this clean, and we're going to be using white. And we're going to make all these fun little bubbles. So stick your sponge in your white, blot it off a little bit, and just make your bubbles wherever you want. I wanted to make one here because I wanted it to be looking like it was coming from my mermaid. So I did a couple of big ones here. And then I turned my polka dot sponge over, stuck it in the white, and I made some little ones. You can make some little bubbles like that. So I did a couple of big ones, a couple little ones. Mine are kind of wonky there, but I think I got a bite taken out of my polka dot sponge here. You don't, though. Yours are good. So now I'm going to make some more. I'm going to make some little ones over here by the leaves, because when leaves flow in the ocean, they make bubbles. And so do starfish. So we're going to give the starfish some bubbles. And when the mermaid moves her fins, it makes bubbles. Everything makes bubbles. So you can have as much bubbles as you want. We'll give the fish some bubbles up here, because you know they got bubbles. All right, so I think that looks pretty good. So I'm going to throw, no I'm not, don't throw that one in the water yet. We got to do one more thing with this one. With your white one, I want you to put some white on your mermaid body. And that's because this is to make it look like this. There's some light reflecting off of her golden scales. So just, you blot it off really good after you put it in there, and don't do too much. Sometimes I just like to do a little bit of side, maybe, or just very lightly, not too much, because, you know, the sun is not like all over reflecting. But, you know, whatever you like. I like to kind of hit it with the side of the sponge. It kind of makes a little curvy look to it. So yeah, so put that in there, and once you like the way that looks, go ahead and throw that sponge in the water. And the last brush that we're going to be using, unless I forgot something and I haven't seen it yet, is going to be your detail brush. Sorry, what did I say, sponge? I meant brush. All right, I do that a lot. I know you guys know that. Okay, so we're going to use our detail brush, which is our smallest, and our white again. There it is. And we're going to put what I call motion lines. So it's just these little lines right here, and it makes it look like the grass is flowing, and little lines here by her fins to make it look like, you know, she's swimming. So those up here by her fins here. You know, I put these here, but I really don't have room there, so I'm going to put them down here this time. And you just kind of follow the edge, however her fin is shaped. Follow the edge there. I mean, you can even put one here if you want. And then on the grass, let's see, that one is really flailing around. So I'm going to put a couple there by him. And I'll just put a couple right here by him. All right, I love it. I hope you guys like your mermaid. And thank you for painting with me. And we'll see y'all next time. Bye-bye.